Welcome to the Austin Forum Upload, the podcast of the Austin Forum on Technology and Society.
Every episode, we upload for you the expertise, insights, and opinions of thought leaders, innovators, and creators on topics at the intersection of technology and society.
We'll cover pervasive and emerging technologies that are influencing and impacting our business, education, governments, research, and culture.
I'm Jay.
I'm Jessica.
And I'm John.
And we're the co-producers of the Austin Forum Upload.
Hey, this is John Lockman, one of your producers with the Austin Forum Upload, and today I'm introducing a special crossover episode we recorded with the Tech Breakfast podcast team. We had a blast talking with these guys about tech news and trending topics, things like Apple versus Facebook, new tech from Tesla, the GameStop fiasco, and more. We think you'll enjoy this crossover episode, and we encourage you to check out their podcast series by subscribing to the Tech Breakfast podcast, where you can get your dose of tech news, commentary, and fun every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday morning.
It's Friday, January 29th. You're listening to the Tech Breakfast podcast, the show that brings you delicious tech news headlines and all the gossipy hot takes you can handle. With Tyler Gates, Russ Cantwell, and Aaron Bewley, we're basically the tech version of The View. We've got some guests from the Austin Forum Upload today. A couple of them which I don't know grammar, that I work with. How about I say it that way? We have Jay, John, and Jessica on the show. Jay, do you want to introduce your team and what y'all are all about?
Sure. So I'm Jay Boisseau, and by day I work with Aaron at Dell Technologies, but we also run the Austin Forum on Technology and Society. I'm the executive director of it, and I have our managing director here and our tech director here, and I'll have them introduce themselves. Jessica, you want to go first?
Yes. Hello. Thank you so much for having us. My name is Jessica Sager, and I am the managing director for the Austin Forum on Technology and Society.
And I'm John Lockman. I'm the technology director. And in my day job, I build artificial intelligence systems and do a fair amount of research in high performance computing and, building really big computers to solve really hard problems.
That is awesome. John, you have to tell me about the keyboards in your background. Unless it's a fake background and you're just a pretend musician.
No, they're real, actually.
Welcome to the show. We're glad to have you here.
Yes, and that. So you play?
I do. That's a couple of synthesizers and some sequencers, a little bit of guitar, As you do in Austin, you can't shake a stick without hitting a guitar player, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah. And Jessica, you're in Austin as well. I'm guessing all of y'all are kind of in the same area. How did y'all meet? How did y'all get into everything that you're doing with the Austin Forum Upload?
Wow. I guess I met John many years ago when we were working at the Texas Advanced Computing Center, and I hired him. And I guess I met Jessica maybe a year and a half ago. Jessica, is that right? Through a mutual friend.
Almost exactly.
Yeah, who realized that I needed a managing director to help me with the Austin Forum and another tech organization, the Austin Smart City Alliance. And she introduced me to Jessica.
Awesome. Very cool. Well, as Tyler said, welcome to the show. What do y'all want to talk about?
So much good news right now, but I'm really fascinated personally by the Apple's app tracking transparency proclamation and that they're going to enact in this spring. They've given all of the software developers heads up about it. They delayed it a little bit, but they are absolutely going to enact it in sort of the March, April timeframe. And at that point, all the apps have to essentially have a nutrition label in the App Store for the sites they share data with. And more importantly, you have to be given the right to opt in to whether you'll let them share your data. And during the pandemic, I started a book club, and a couple of the books relate to this, Weapons of Math Destruction and Stand Out of Our Light, and about this attention economy and this monetization of data. And Apple has a different business model, and they're really going all in on it, which is forcing transparency and such. And so I'm enjoying the arguments in the press between Apple and Facebook, and I use both, but Facebook doesn't look like they have much ammunition in this fight. They've even given guidance that their next quarter may not look so good due to the app tracking transparency features they'll be forced to use.
That sounds about right for Facebook. I mean, obviously their whole business is built on collecting and sharing information, and they've proven to be very capable at doing that and using it to their advantage and their marketers' advantage and stuff like that. I haven't seen a whole lot about this. I've caught little snippets here and there, but I did see an article yesterday about Facebook. I think it was Zuckerberg was being quoted as basically saying he's going to take it to court on the grounds that Apple is recognized as a direct competitor to Facebook, and therefore this is anti-competitive practice. And
what?
that seems
on.
a little bit of a reach.
I don't know. I was
Bit of a
trying to tie
stretch.
Facebook and iMessage saying that they were competitors. That's the
Yeah.
part I heard, but I didn't know about this. I didn't know about the app tracking stuff. That's cool.
Well,
I have seen
technically
some of the hints, but yeah.
Yeah, technically the features are in there now, but they're opt-in instead of opt-out. So if you dig into privacy settings in your iPhone, you can find a thing that says allow them to ask you, but it's basically saying allow the apps to ask you if they want to share or to want to notify you they're sharing data. I'm pretty sure the percentage of apps that want to notify you of that is somewhere below 1%. I mean, they monetize this, and they provide value to you too. So some people will opt in because who wants to see ads that aren't relevant to them? We all use ad supported software and apps at times. We pay for some, we use free stuff in other places. The free stuff's ad supported. I use Facebook. It's ad supported. I don't know where the ads are because I've trained myself never to actually see them, I guess, but they're in there. And I'll have to make some decisions on that when app transparency tracking is enacted. But
I wonder how many regular users will opt in. Like the message pops up on your screen and it says, would you like to opt in to someone tracking you everywhere you go? And it's going to have some verbiage
because that's how it's going to say it.
And they're not going to say to themselves, I would like to have better ads. So yes, I think most people view this, right or wrong, as bad. And I think a lot of people are going to opt out. I don't know. It's just my initial thought, because I will tell you that there have been a few scenarios where I have had to opt in. And I'm actually one of those people who does want to see personalized ads and not random things. So more often than not, I'm comfortable opting in. I have a Google phone. I'm very comfortable being tracked everywhere that I go. So, but I do think that the average user may read that message as a huge negative, in my opinion. I don't know your thoughts.
I'm with you. In it'll be interesting if it's going to be an all or nothing opt-in too, because I think if you looked at what Facebook's apps are actually tracking, you'd be okay with location data, some specific heuristics about you, stuff that you think is normal for a company to target ads for you. But then when you find out they can see all of what every other app on your phone is also doing simultaneously to share back to political, like whatever it is, like they go so much deeper. And I think really early when they started talking about this, somebody that had an early access to, I assume it was the iPhone settings that actually show you some of that stuff, they were just flicking through the list, which was just page after page of things that Facebook collect as an app. And they compared it to something else, and I forget what the other app was, but the other app had like 7 things. There's like access to microphone, access to camera, access to contacts, location data, and whether or not you're smiling, something absurd. But then Facebook is just a litany of things that you didn't even know that your phone was capable of giving to a single application. And it's probably going to be all or nothing. Like, do you want it to be able to know what your contacts are and be able to use Facebook Messenger?
Yeah, there's not really an in-between on that.
Or do you want no app functionality whatsoever and everyone in the world to, be completely cut off from you? I don't think I think it's going to be binary.
It is already, even with, if you ever looked at your Google settings of ads settings.google.com, you can actually see what they know all about you, which is kind of scary and fun at the same time. But I mean, I agree with Russell. I mean, when you turn that off, your ads are like just totally random. They're nothing towards what you usually look at. And it's like, okay, I get it. That there is a slightly better experience in seeing things that maybe you're more interested to purchase, but we're consumers. I mean,
Here's a question. Here's a question. Who here has ever clicked on an ad to buy something?
Not on Facebook.
Yeah.
But
I have
Guilty.
I have done it before, probably less than 10 times, but
I did it like 2 days ago.
Not
Bought
that
a
much.
Wired subscription.
What'd you buy, Jessica?
Being the only woman on the group, I'm gonna be like,
really great earrings. They got lots of compliments. And I told people I got them on Facebook advertising. I literally said, I was like, it worked. I got these things. They told it was an amazing upsell. I love the funnel of it. It was awesome. There.
That's fantastic.
Usually
my answer is a hard no, because I have like 7 layers of app or ad blocking in my setup. I use AdGuard. I use a local DNS that fails to AdGuard's DNS with a pie hole. And like literally, I will click something sometimes by accident, and it just immediately goes to a 404 or not a 404. It's always the DNS entry not found, and I can look back there. So I don't know. I don't know what ads I get. If I accidentally get them, they don't go anywhere. It's great.
I think one of the big questions that I'm wondering about, though, when this goes into effect is actually about, because my background is I'm the society part of Austin Forum on Technology and Society. So it's, okay, we're going to let all these people know this. But how many people are reading the user agreements they're signing anyways? Like who's going to read these things? I'm just curious, like in theory, all this is going to be available, but who's going to read?
Nobody's going to read it.
I think they're going to force it.
They're going to force it. I still think people click through and they're not even paying attention to what they click. Yeah, just give me my thing.
That's probably true, because it certainly won't be phrased in the you consent to allow us to use your data and share it with third parties.
We're selling you.
More in the, hey, can we improve your user experience?
Exactly.
Yes or no?
That's going to be the summary at the top, and then it's going to be 18, just light years of listed legal speak that basically says we own you.
I read my first user agreement yesterday ever, and that was the one prior to getting vaccinated. I felt like, maybe this is one I should read. And just so y'all know the experience, because I don't know if any of y'all have, they have an included 5G chip version and a non. I went ahead and went with the 5G chip version.
Which one has Bill Gates' DNA just like in the virus going into you?
Well, I figured the 5G chip will prepare me for
before you have kids.
Yeah, for augmented reality. Yeah. Well, you guys gotta let me get through the joke, Tyler.
Oh man.
I'm just kidding. No, but for the ads, I only ever seem to get targeted ads on things I already bought. So I don't know if there's like a system I can go into and say, yes, I bought those shoes already. Yeah. Or yes, I already like replenished my protein bars. Like, come on. Stop.
Yeah, if you buy a toilet seat on Amazon, it's going to continue to recommend you for the next month and a half that there are so many other toilet seats that you could purchase.
Have you felt any buyer's remorse yet? Because you're about to.
John, I have to say that isn't my experience. And coincidentally, I did buy a toilet seat on Amazon about 2 months ago. I really did. And the ads, awesome. But I should say, it's interesting. I appreciate the data mining in Amazon, because I go there to shop and it shows me things that I might want to buy. And I don't see ads for stuff that I'm not interested in. So it's really interesting. I don't generally buy stuff from an ad in Facebook or an ad in Instagram. Instead, I open Amazon and give the other tech titan all of my data and money and everything.
Right.
So go buy it there. So I'm
totally guilty of that one. I'll go in, and tools in particular, because I really like woodworking, but I like tools in general. And it is impossible to go into an Amazon and look at related products and not just be like, oh yeah, that's going on the list. That's going on the list. That's going on the list.
Yeah.
And then you buy 2 of them.
Especially when it's like $7 instead of 45 at the hardware store or something, and it has 40,000 reviews and they're 5 stars, and you're like, yeah, might as well get that extra.
I guess I'm buying that.
Yeah.
Well, I'll wrap my thoughts on this by recommendation. Apple published a document called "A Day in the Life of Your Data," and it's a PDF file on their website. So if you just search for "A Day in the Life of Your Data," that's what the document's called, .pdf. It's not a usual Apple web page thing. It's really just more of a document about a scenario and where your data goes as you use devices and things throughout the day. So it doesn't mean it's bad. Again, we were all talking, some of us prefer the customized experience, but it is kind of an interesting look at how your data makes its way around to different vendors and different companies and things. And an interesting look behind the covers of the use of your data as you click on it.
It looks like a little storybook. It's a day in the life of your data, a father-daughter day at the playground.
I was about to say the same. That's right. I'll read it with my girls tonight. Thanks for the link. I'll drop it in
at night.
Yeah, exactly. I'll drop it in the show notes here. Okay. What else? What else do you want to talk about?
You were talking about your 5G chip implant with your, and I was reminded of the story I read just recently about in Houston, in a neighborhood, Verizon has started to install the 5G towers. They're not towers though; they are huge electrical looking utility boxes that they're putting on people's front lawn. Because
what?
It's Houston,
Yeah.
and I mean, let's be real. The distance of 5G is only about 1,000 feet. So if you want a good coverage for your city or your neighborhood, maybe this is our future.
Oh my goodness!
You also better take down your
Aesthetics be
walls,
damned.
because that's not going to go through your walls or your
Take down
windows
your walls.
or the leaf that's on your tree.
Right.
If we're talking about 5 millimeter wave, it's going nowhere. It is not meant for human.
So I guess you get good. Everyone's going to come outside and be walking their dogs or something while they're.
Oh, well,
Everyone's
it's Houston.
going
It'll
outside
be
to test their download speed. They're going to be like,
that's
"Hey,
right.
I
And you'll be in your
what
car.
the download speed is
That's true.
outside."
Yeah, you'll be in
Great.
your car.
you'll be in your car. You'll be driving
using
somewhere.
peer-to-peer to share Linux distros, right? That's all anyone ever used all that bandwidth for.
Exactly. That's what the torrents
That's
have
the
always
dream.
been used for.
Always been and always will be.
Just trying to get those distros out to everybody that needs them.
Oh man! Before the show, one of y'all was talking about Plaid. What is there a new Tesla Model S refresh that I saw?
Tesla, which they had the Model S and the X for a long time as their high-end models. Then they came out with the 3 and the Y as their more affordable, not quite low cost, but more affordable models. And the S and the X, their higher end ones, they haven't really made major updates to for years. And so there was some speculation that maybe they never would. Elon had even said, hey, this is more nostalgia than anything else. They're not big parts of our revenue base anymore. Well, surprise, they announced the updated versions of both of them, and they have some interesting tech geeky kinds of features, and one that's just raw power. They named them the Plaid models, which, and I'm going to go ahead and confess, I didn't get the reference at first. I hadn't seen Spaceballs in 20 years. I'm going to watch it this weekend.
They're going to Plaid.
They're
This
going
was
to
the
Plaid.
confusion was they already had ludicrous mode.
Right? What's the matter, Colonel Sanders? Chicken.
So John humiliated me with my lack of Spaceballs yesterday, and I'm going to watch it this weekend. But not my favorite of the Rick Moranis films or the Mel Brooks films, but I'm going to watch it this weekend. But
Well, wait, what is your favorite?
of the Rick Moranis films, oddly, it's My Blue Heaven. I really like that movie. And of the Mel Brooks films, it's got to be History of the World. I love that. So, but I'm going to watch Spaceballs this weekend.
Is that on your list at all?
What's that?
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Rick Moranis. Never mind.
I like that one. And then there was a sequel, right? Honey, I Grew the Kids or something like that.
Yeah,
But,
something like, or yes.
I mean,
Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves.
obviously the role of his
There it is.
lifetime was his secondary role in Ghostbusters as keymaster or gatekeeper. I can't remember which one he was. But the Plaid Mode Plus has over 1,000 horsepower
That's what's up.
and can go to 0 to 60 in under 2 seconds, giving 1.4 Gs of pressure.
That's
on you.
insane.
You do that.
1.9.
And they've even changed the
Wow.
steering wheel. It no longer is a steering wheel. It's kind of looks a little bit more like a
It's like it's got a
plane.
arcade game yoke thing
It's
with
the
two
racing
handles
wheel,
on
right?
each
It's,
side.
like a Formula One car.
yeah.
Yeah, like a Formula
Wow.
One or
They're not messing around.
a
yeah,
plane.
which I don't know
Yeah.
how you're going to turn. When you're turning to park
That-
into a space,
That might actually be a
don't.
deal breaker for me.
except for the fact that I guess you just tell the car to park now instead
Yeah.
of turning the wheel. So
Yeah, it parks for you.
yeah, I guess you kind of have to use. It's going to be awkward not having it park for you with that weird steering yoke thing it's got. But on the other hand, 1,050 horsepower.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
It's going to
and-
force people to stop using 10 and 2, which is a horrible place. to put your hands
There,
on
in
wheels.
fact, I think
9
there
and
is
3,
no 10 and
people.
2.
9
9
and 3.
So that 0 to 60 speed, there's a bunch of different car shows that have gone into, hey, is it ever really possible to get lower than like a 1.9 0 to 60 speed? And when you just break down the physics of it, it's dang near impossible, right? Unless you literally have a rocket off the back of the vehicle pushing you forward, right?
Or a vacuum.
The friction and the weight and just the dynamics of all that kind of stuff. Like this is the fastest you're going to go 0 to 60. We've made it, right? And I'll also
it's
say
a production, like
We
off the
made
line
it.
car. It's not
Yeah.
something that
That's
you're aftermarket putting into it to get to that point.
Yeah,
And
this
it's
isn't
only
a
like
drag car.
130 grand. I mean, it's cheap.
What's money when there's Dogecoin that's just going off the rails?
Yeah, that's right.
People are making money on
300%
GME.
yesterday, right?
Exactly.
Let's use
Everybody
your
get in.
Doge gains or your GME YOLO gains and buy a Tesla.
The other thing I'll say on this, I'm really happy to hear, Jay, that you said Plaid Plus and not like Plaid Turbo, because whenever you get like the Porsche electric, what was it, the Taycan or something, where they added a turbo model for the high end electric, there's no turbo in.
How do you
the
put
motor.
a turbo
It's
in a
not
battery?
It's not.
It's got that sound, you know, the turbo.
yeah. They put in the audible blow off valve and all that kind of stuff. There's no turbo in the system. Like, words mean things, and it just gets me all kinds of.
No, they
Riled up.
stopped meaning things in the automobile industry. We already talked about this. That's
Yeah.
not
Well,
a Mustang.
Yes, that's right. So, but kudos, Tesla. Thank you for calling it a Plaid Plus.
I do have to drop, but I want to point this last thing out about the Plaid Plus or Ultra or whatever Aaron is wanting it to be called. The thing that I liked most about this, and thing that was actually most interesting to me, and why I decided to go actually price this thing out, even though like 3 episodes ago I basically trashed EV vehicles, was like, I'll never use one because Lubbock doesn't have any chargers, is because it has a 520 mile range option. And when I'm looking at an EV vehicle,
Holy
that's
cow.
a top thing that I'm looking at, is the distance that you're able to get out of it, mostly because I'm looking for longevity, not just out of a singular drive, but out of the vehicle itself. I mean, I've had 2 vehicles in my life, because I had one for almost 14 years. And this next one, I'm getting close to 10. So it's, I keep vehicles a long time.
Okay,
And I don't want my batteries degrading in a way that I can't
550.
drive further than 5 miles. So I like the long range options here. So 520, it's looking good. I'm with it.
Russ, before you
when
drop real
when you
quick,
getting it, Russ?
I need your. He's getting it ASAP. Clearly.
Yeah, well, I'm pre-ordering it. It's only 100.
before you
grand,
drop,
so no problem.
Tesla says the new center screen is basically a gaming computer with 10 teraflops,
Oh,
10 teraflops of
that's it.
processing
He's
power.
done. Russ
and the
is in.
released
He just
the released
ordered it.
images show it running the popular fantasy RPG game Witcher 3.
It's coming. It's coming.
Yep.
It is on
Of
the way.
course. Whatever. People are just going to play
said,
Among Us in the car. You know,
That's right.
If they had said that it was coming preloaded with Counter-Strike, like, I would have gone to one of the factories and gotten it before it came off the line.
I need to borrow this forever.
Yes,
It
I
just
need to
needs to
borrow
be-
this.
Model S Counter-Strike Edition. That's what it needs to say.
Here's the money from my cash out refinance. Give me this. And then I'm going to take it.
All right, get out of here. Go to your
All
meeting.
right. Later, everyone. Thanks for joining.
Other things, it looks like the rear seat gets a screen.
Oh, they
Yeah.
they did go into some of the entertainment side of it out of the box, huh?
I can't tell what they're playing. It looks like Rainbow Road or something in the back there. Anyway.
What?
All right. What else? What else do you want to talk about?
What else is in the news? Man, I'm sorry. I have been entirely consumed by GameStop and the market behaviors. So my news right now is all Wall Street bets and hedge funds and short squeezes. So it's
Do you want to
exciting.
get angry on that for a little bit?
I don't even know. I don't know if anybody has tolerance for that again. I will say this. It is going to be really interesting because of what appeared to garner the Senate's attention yesterday, and what I think is the most interesting output of what happened yesterday, when it looks like Apex Clearing, which is a back end for a lot of the brokerages, basically halted buying of GameStop shares, not just GameStop, I believe Nokia, BlackBerry, Bed Bath & Beyond, basically a list of heavily shorted stocks that are not doing real well right now, or shouldn't be, by traditional standards and valuations.
No, I think that's the point. They're doing too well.
Well,
and then the shorters are having to pay more.
Of course. I mean, that's the point. But they were targeted, and so
Yeah.
it's the question is, were they targeted in such a way that it was organized? Is that legal? Obviously, the hedge funds, and for whatever reason, all media outlets right now, and I'll leave it to you to wonder why maybe all of the media outlets are supporting one side of this equation, and that side is the side with billions. Um,
Because they're owned
But-
by billionaires.
Surprising.
But what really caught me off guard and was actually kind of interesting and exciting almost was that AOC in particular tweeted and said, "This is ugly. This is dirty. We're going to look into it. We're going to investigate what's going on here because it looks like there's bad behavior." She didn't imply if it was all on one side, all on the other. She just said, "We're opening an inquiry." Right? Ted Cruz retweets AOC and says, "I approve," which then she went and turned into kind of a fight. But the fact that they were on the same page at all was like, what timeline are we in? What's happening right now? And it's proving to be an across the aisle issue in the United States, which I feel like everyone in the world is probably aware of how unusual that is, especially right now for us. But it wasn't just those two high profiles. Trump, I think it was Eric Trump, I believe, also basically agreed with AOC. I don't think he retweeted it, but he said the same thing effectively. And a number of House and Senate reps basically came out condemning whatever happened yesterday, trying to get to the bottom of what appears to be manipulation on the hedge fund side, and very well could be bad behavior in the retail investment side too. So I think we're going to see a lot of really interesting information come from this. I'm curious to see if there will be any market activity, but there's definitely been a lot of fervor and excitement. And there was another tweet from Elon Musk. Of course, he's involved in all of this, right? And he sent out a tweet that basically said, "You can't sell houses you don't own. You can't sell cars you don't own, but you can sell stocks you don't own. What's wrong with that?"
Yeah,
And
well, actually,
point.
I think that's a very good point. And I think if you want to gamble on the stock market in crazy ways, instead of doing this Wall Street bet stuff, all you got to do is follow Elon's tweets. I mean,
That is a fact.
what did he bumped Shopify, he bumped Etsy, he bumped CD Projekt Red, he bumped Bandai Namco, and then he bumped the wrong signal.
That was hilarious.
I did not see that.
Oh, it was when that was great. And oh man, that stock went up like 1,000% in a day or something.
Some
like,
small medical
not
device
us.
companies like, "I'm great."
Sure,
There's been a lot of that. There was so there's an official Robinhood Society over in the UK somewhere, and they were tweeting, "Hey, welcome to the thousands of new followers. We're glad that you are so into Robinhood history or whatever."
That was actually there was a headline this morning because I saw that yesterday because they tweeted it. They were just like, "Welcome to the party, but we're not who you think we are," right? They were confusing the Robinhood Society for the Robinhood app, which is under fire in the public right now. And oh man, that just puts a smile on my face.
They went from 350 followers to nearly 40,000. I think they should have gone with it.
That's awesome.
Let me give you advice.
Financial advice. There you go.
Welcome.
That's awesome.
Wow.
But
Here you go.
so it occurred to me, Elon's tweet that mentioned these things that you can't sell if you don't own. Rewind the clock to 2008, and what do we call selling the debt on houses in mega derivative fashion? Because it kind of feels like selling a house you don't own, and we already know how that ends.
Yeah.
That's what I said on the show earlier in the week.
Good, awesome.
Well,
Maybe I missed it 'cause I was so excited.
Well, the conversation was going so quickly. It sounded like you maybe disagreed on that. So I'm happy to hear you say that. Anyway.
No, oh well, I maybe I did disagree in the moment, but I've been thinking about it. Well, all day yesterday, basically, and I don't think there is a difference. I think the thing that catches me off guard in all of this is that there's so much focus on what we can do to fix retail from finding these short opportunities and blowing the market up, because there's real risk of bankrupting major financial institutions, right? And that's not all going to go to retail either. There could very well be bad actors on the other side of the pond, as an example, or globally. It doesn't just stop in Reddit's pocket, as an example. And there are already 70 billion in short position holder losses. 70 billion is tiny in the grand scheme of things. I mean, that's less than, I think, 1/4% of the total market, which is, it sounds like a really big number, but the total assets in the NASDAQ and NYSE, I think, are somewhere like 30 trillion. I forget what the number was, but it puts it in perspective. Like 70 billion is really big. for an individual or an individual organization, but it's really small in market dynamics. So getting excited about it, I understand if it's affecting you personally, but we don't necessarily want to see hedge funds bleeding left and right. But they also made the bet. Like the gamble isn't just coming from Wall Street bets, it's coming from the massive overshorters. So
yeah, I mean,
part of that was
the information age that we live in now, that, you know, throughout the history of trading, you know, I think in the 80s and 90s, it was all insider trading. There is no outside knowledge, right? There was no way to even get that. And now all of this is available and anybody can play the game. And, you know, I don't know. The big hedge funds have been gambling like this, and now people are calling them in their own game. I think that's great.
Yeah. And it's amazing how quickly they rallied media to basically come and call foul on retail investors, which is just ridiculous to me. You overshort a stock by more than 100% of its entire share volume. You overshort the float by 260%, and then you're angry when you get caught with your pants down. Yeah. Keep your pants on.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It sounds pretty American. I'm just going to say I'm actually not surprised by how you play that out. That sounds totally right for where we're at. Yeah.
I thought this was the casino where I win.
Accountable. Yeah.
That's right.
This isn't investing.
Fair.
This is gambling.
Yeah. They were acting as the house, right?
They thought.
Yeah, exactly. I've loved all the little derivative things that have come from this. The comedians doing, you know, satire skits trying to explain it. You know, people printing shirts. There's all kinds of really cool stuff that's come out of this that just you just love the internet for that type of stuff.
Pop culture now, no question.
And I think it's going to shift though, because it's gotten so many people involved. I mean, like kids these days are now like trading stocks with $20 and playing on Robinhood. Like, how is that going to shift?
Clouds.
Yeah, the financial future of people now that that this is their baseline at 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, you know, in your 20s, you're like, oh yeah, I just helped to take down the hedge funds.
Yeah, there's a guy I follow on Twitter that was so excited to get his PS5. He's like, I haven't played my PS5 all this week. I'm sitting here on financialcalculator.net just trying to he's like, my PS5's collecting dust because of this madness.
You know what That's a thread to pull, though, because I'm guilty of that. I've only ever day traded twice in my life. Once when I lived in Italy and I got home from working at the facility that I was working with, Lockheed Martin and Alenia Aermacchi, to basically the clock in New York dinging or the bell ringing to start the market open. So perfect timing just to dabble. And then basically the last week. And it's tons of fun, but it is a game. I mean, it's totally a game. And from my perspective, right, I'm throwing money that I can afford to lose, that I expect to lose to some extent, right? It's just like going to a casino in your favorite state of choice and throwing stuff on the table for craps and just playing for 4 hours with a smile on your face, watching your pile go up, go down, people winning, people losing. That is how I'm treating the stock market right now, or this part. 99% of any asset I own is sitting in some index fund that I don't touch and haven't for years, other than, flowing small amounts of money in as I get paychecks. But this is pure gambling. And for me, the dopamine response is identical to playing Grand Theft Auto on a PS whatever.
Sure.
Like, whatever, this is great.
I did hear of a study that they were talking about people who over time who had traded themselves day trading, and they found that the people who came out the most on top were the ones who either lost their account or forgot about it.
I believe
That's
that.
right.
I do. I do.
It's like I'm gonna win the lottery for all those tickets I don't buy. Like, just it's good.
Yep.
It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Invest that money.
No, I forget what the stat is, but it's something like 90% of day traders end up negative, right? It is not a pretty number. But in these crazy bull markets, and you'll see a lot of this. This is the kids these days, right? We probably have a generation or two or three that are getting their first experience foray into investing right now. And they're all going to think this is normal.
Right. Yeah.
And most people agree this is not normal. Like, nothing about what's happening, even in the safer side of investing, makes sense right now.
But if they say it's normal and it becomes their normal, then it becomes the normal.
Well, the problem with that is that the rude awakening is the next time we have a major correction, because that's going to feel really unnatural, and it's going to be devastating, because it always is devastating when we have massive corrections related to potential bubbles. The problem is you don't know if you're there, or you know you're there, and like John said, they go on entirely too long. So unfortunately, I think some people are going to get a really rude awakening when some of this stuff goes back to a different baseline. I look at Tesla and think, what? How? But maybe you're right. Maybe it just forever maintains its massive status in the automobile industry.
Yeah, dude, 800. So they're an $850 billion market cap. They had their first profitable year this past year.
Makes total sense.
I don't know.
Dogecoin's almost worth $1, Aaron.
No, it's not.
It
can't be. It's like 4 cents.
Never be. It's always like worth a Doge, though.
Okay. All right. Before we run out of time, Jessica, do you want to give us a little bit of a preview, upcoming episodes on the Austin Forum upload? Maybe where are all the different platforms? I'm assuming you're on all the different platforms.
Absolutely. I think, and we just finished part 2 yesterday. John and Jay, what did you guys just finish yesterday?
Let's see. In the last couple days, we finished our look at the social media and society and political climate series. So we did a 2-parter there with Sherry Greenberg of the UT LBJ School of Public Affairs and a former politician, Talia Stroud of the UT College of Communications, who studies the effects of these platforms and mass communications methods, and Paul O'Brien of Media Tech Ventures, who comes at it from the private side. And so I guess the second part's getting published today, right, John? I think we're putting that up. And then yesterday we recorded the first in a sub-series we do. John, you want to tell them about AI, facts, fiction, and fun?
Yeah, we just started another one, as Jay said, kind of a sub-series inside of the Austin Forum upload. And one we've kind of revisited a few times, so we figured it may as well have its own theme and everything. And so Jay, myself, and another colleague of ours, Dr. Luke Wilson, talked about fun stuff in the artificial intelligence world. We try to hit a couple of recent news things that we think are neat. Sometimes we dig a little deep into the full nerd spectrum. And that's okay. We like to dig kind of deep on some of that, but then kind of bring it up to and talk about like fun stuff in media and entertainment and where we see artificial intelligence today and where we see it going in the future. And we're going to bring some other folks back onto that series and kind of keep that same cadence of keeping in on the news, keeping in on what's going on in fun. And so, yeah, check it out. That should be coming up this weekend as well.
That sounds awesome. I'm definitely going to be checking that out. That sounds right up my alley, all the way down to the nerd knobs and up to where AI is going. AI obviously is fascinating, but that just sounds great.
Yeah, we have a lot of great podcasts coming up. We have one I mentioned, I think, at the beginning. I don't know if it was before we started, on tech and spirituality. We'll have robots. We'll have more AI. We're covering a lot of really great stuff this season and series.
AI with robots.
AI and robots.
Nice.
Murder bots.
Murder bots. Ooh, that got dark fast.
All the murder bots.
Have you all seen Black Mirror? Everyone?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I have to confess, I watched the first episode, and the first episode of that is so horrific that I haven't been able to watch again. And
that's what everyone says. They should
none are that bad after that. You have to watch.
They should have warmed
others.
people up. They should not have made that the first episode.
They should have warmed it up a little bit. Yeah.
You can't go straight into that. They should have started it with the episode.
Too real.
Yeah, they should have started with the episode with the woman where it's her life, where she's rating everybody and everyone's rating her and all of her experiences and all that kind of stuff. That one was a little bit
too
gentler.
real too.
I know it's too real, but it's not.
Well,
they should have started with the dating app
podcast the way the first one.
Yeah, we're not even going to discuss what happens in the first one because I never want to talk about that episode again. This comes out at breakfast time. It's just too early in the day for people
that's awesome.
Hearing what happened in that episode.
That's awesome.
I want to share one thing before we go. Aaron got me into this 100-kilometer challenge back between Thanksgiving and he's wearing the T-shirt right now.
Kilometer.
Between Thanksgiving and Christmas, and you just logged your miles however you moved them. And I thought, I'll do this. I'm going to walk every day anyway. I'll start doing this and do this challenge. And I really appreciated Aaron getting me into that. And then the other day we discovered the Walk to Mordor application.
I saw that.
And turns out Mordor is a lot farther than 100 kilometers from Hobbiton. So it's something like 1,932 miles or something.
How do they know that?
So I don't.
They have maps.
They have.
Yeah.
They've
I
drawn
know, but-
maps.
Okay.
We
Come
have
on,
maps.
Scale,
And
man.
they probably used AI. Come on, Aaron. They figured it out. But,
They've got maps, and then I'm sure somebody described a room and said it's 20 feet away. Boom, you know how tall Gandalf is, and you got it.
so me and some of my family and friends, we're logging our walks in it, and it's going to take, it'll probably take over a year to walk all the way to Mordor. But
That's awesome.
they give you neat little stops along the way, and so just past Tookland yesterday. So I just left Hobbiton. So
There you go.
Goal is to get to Bree and the Prancing Pony next and have a pint, and
That's
then
awesome.
of course you're off to
Nice.
Rivendell and such. That's my nerd exercise activity.
That's fantastic. I'm impressed. Aaron's been trying to get me into fitness for like 2 decades. And I mean, to be fair, I'm into fitness, but I'm into fitness pizza in my mouth, right? Like,
Fitness
it's not-
on pizza in my mouth. Yeah, he actually agreed to do a Spartan sprint with me once, and the only
It was
time he
awful.
ran in that event was when I was
Fantastic.
pushing him in the back. No, but I love it. So I went to.
but I finished it.
You did. I'm so proud of you.
You lied to
and
me.
I-
You said if I could run 3 miles, then I could do it. So I did for like a week. I hit lots of pain walls and was like, okay, well, I can run 3 miles. And then I did that thing and it was awful. But I finished
So
it.
Tyler, oh man, this is going to go off a little bit here, but for some reason I was looking at who Tyler follows yesterday, and there was a little
On
section
Twitter.
in there where it's on Twitter. Sorry, Twitter's the only social media that exists for me. Yeah, I was going through and it's like, AI, robotics, like whatever. And then it was like ultra marathoner, ultra runner, ultra runner, ultra marathoner. And I sent him a screenshot. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? You hate running. Can you explain that to people, please, Tyler?
It's
How did I
like
explain it?
demotivation. You can
No,
watch them run and be like, I don't want to do that.
It's actually more ridiculous than that. Though that does seem like a reasonable position. Last year, I'm going to butcher this because I don't remember what it's called exactly, but it's the something backyard ultra marathon, and I think it's an annual international competition amongst teams where humans will just run longer than I thought anyone could stay awake, even if they weren't running hundreds of thousands of miles, like just not hundreds of thousands, but it was like, I forget, it's hundreds and hundreds of miles that they run over the course of days, nonstop. They have tiny breaks. They have to restart the next circuit. Each circuit is 4, 6, 7. I don't know what all the stats are, but I was blown away by the fact that the people that win these basically run for 4 days straight. And they only stop when they become completely delusional and don't know where they are or who they are or what's happening or if it's real or not. And they quite simply can't go and trudge through another of these yards. And I got into it when they were going through this last year. Super impressive. And the Team USA ended up being like second place, I think. And the 2 last runners were a guy and a girl that have been ultra marathoning forever, and they're well known in the space and stuff. But I told Aaron and Russ, I was like, running is stupid, and it's really just a way to hate on your knees, and I don't like it at all. But I love the idea of people pushing their body to a limit I didn't actually know existed. So, ultra marathoning, cool. Running.
You're going all the way, then it's fine.
Yeah, exactly. This was the conversation we had yesterday on chat. I'm like,
Well-
what? I'm trying to find the consistency here.
So
But I love-
Jessica, like Aaron, is a runner, so she might have some feedback on the ultra marathon.
See,
I don't mean that
our
to be
friend
offensive.
Chelsea is one. No, I'm not an ultra marathoner, but I
just
read the book.
Don't like running.
You read the book Born to Run, which I'm sure Aaron has read, but then it makes
You
it
brought this
so
up.
easy.
I said it. Yeah.
It's just like because the guy starts with, I was in a really rough place one night, and I think a relationship ended, so I just got out of my house and I started running. And 15 miles later, I was still running. I ate pizza and kept running, and it makes it sound so simple, like you can just do that.
Yeah.
If you're just getting off running, like after the first 5 seconds, you're like, has it been 10 miles yet?
Right? And you're like, you've gone 0.3 miles. And you're like,
Like-
oh.
Time and distance.
Yeah, no, I ran at least twice in my life, and it was awful both times.
I have to say, Joe, though, Jay, I love so I went to walktomordor.com, and the first 2 words are level up your exercise. I love the gamification concepts, anything that's like that behind exercise, the competition, all that kind of stuff. Because whenever you think about, do I want to spend the next hour, running or lifting weights, or do I want to spend the next hour leveling up on my favorite video game? Right? It's the same kind of thing. I can level up this fictional being that I feel like sort of represents me, or I can go level up myself. I don't know.
Yeah, the only drawback to this is, now that I think about it, Jessica may download this and she runs and she'll log all of her runs. And I'm sitting here, I just got to Tookland from Hobbiton, like 5 miles. And suddenly she's going to be like, oh, I just passed through Moria. No, I'm through Rohan. I already dropped the ring off. You don't need to go to Mordor. I already killed the ring.
I'm on my way back.
I'll high five you on the way back.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out, how far is it really?
I think it
Imaginary
in the
place.
app like one.
Well, no,
Yeah, Aaron, it doesn't exist. No,
I know
was
that.
going to go there, but Jessica
Nobody's
brought
gonna
it
get there,
up.
guys.
It's important. Sometimes we don't know.
Never mind. Okay, I'm done talking.
Thank you for that, Jessica. Oh my! So I know we're getting down to the top of the hour here. And any other cool tech news or stuff you guys want to talk about? Jessica's wiggling.
I know.
She didn't say anything.
It's like, I'm waiting for what's the cool tech news, guys?
What's it gonna be? I don't even think I have anything. Do you have anything else in the notes, Aaron?
There's other stuff.
Done with topics?
Man. Well, there's random things. Earth had a second moon for a little while.
Like recently?
SO 2020. Yeah. So there was a small object that dropped into Earth's orbit about halfway between our planet and the moon in September of 2020, and it swung around.
This was really recent.
Leaving.
I thought you were going to say, it's 2.6 billion years ago. So recent in the grand scheme of things.
Recent in the scheme of Earth,
No, they call it a mini moon.
It was like yesterday. That's cool.
Because it fits the definition of what a moon is, right?
Sure.
A space rock orbiting your rock, right? But it's a mini moon that left. There was that. There's a bunch of other little tiny stuff, but I don't know if we want to get into it. One of the things I'm excited to talk about here shortly is that NASA's Perseverance rover is landing soon.
Next month.
Yeah,
cool. And you've also got Chinese about to
20
land
days.
on Mars as well. And
really? I didn't know they sent something as well. I know they were sending something
too,
to
right?
the moon.
This is the Mars race. Let's go.
Yeah, bring it.
Yeah.
Well, the cool thing it's in Perseverance rover is 20 days out. That's what it is. And when it lands, it'll also launch a little helicopter, which will be the first time that's ever happened.
That's right. We talked about that. It's not
Yeah.
that little either. It's like a massive drone.
Yeah.
I know you're always like, this little thing that they're going to put on Mars. It's about the size of a large SUV.
Yes.
What?
It flies. It has a helicopter.
Yeah.
Exactly. It comes with a helicopter. Yeah, exactly. That's
The next Tesla
that's
too
so
will come
cool,
with its
though.
own helicopter, and then it'll be great.
Yeah, sign me up for that one. Your own personal Amazon delivery drone.
And then there was another one here. The moon could be getting water thanks to wind from Earth's magnetosphere. So you guys can go look that one up.
Lots of
I
air
can drop
quotes
it
on that
into
one. That sounds fancy. That sounds neat.
Well, it's not actual. Yeah. Anyway, whatever. Anyway,
you kind of trailed off there. Not gonna lie, Aaron. No, I feel like I got to touch on this because I got all excited about it yesterday, and then Google totally disappointed me. When I was looking at the GameStop stuff, Robinhood, the app, got ragged on hardcore by its user base, which was something like 50 to 75% of Robinhood users were Wall Street Bets followers, right? I did not validate that statistic, but it's significant. I'll leave it at that. And I remember when Robinhood was brought to prominence because of Wall Street Bets, so it kind of makes sense. It's basically where they started. But they basically brigaded the app stores, both Apple and Google, with 1-star reviews, ragging on them for the trade restrictions that happened yesterday. And I was on our little Telegram thread with Aaron, and I said, hey, will you give me a screenshot of the stats on the App Store, because you can only get high-level stuff off the web for the Apple App Store. And then I looked at Google. Google's average review for Robinhood yesterday all day was 1 star. And Apple's was like 4.85 or something like that.
4.8, yeah.
And at first I was like, ooh, what's that tell you? But then I realized that there were only like 30,000 reviews on the Google App Store, and there are 2.5 million on Apple's App Store. And so relative volume. But then I still said, well, okay, but obviously they weight recent reviews differently because I know that the Apple App Store got hammered too. And then today, Google deletes 100,000 one-star reviews, bringing Robinhood's review rating back up based on, and I'm just like, no, that's not how this works. You can't.
Who's making these
that.
decisions?
This is
I
also
hate it.
manipulation.
Yes.
Absolutely. It's perhaps not going to get the Senate's attention, but it just feels wrong. It should not be that easy to erase something that very clearly pissed off your entire user base. But here we are. So thanks, Google.
Thanks, Google.
So the last thing I'll add from a space perspective, if any of y'all have $55 million for me to
Jay does.
borrow.
Oh yeah,
Jay?
let's go. Let's go.
Did you see that one?
I do have 55 million, of course. I just
Pesos.
I don't loan it to friends. Sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't say which
Friends
currency.
and
Oops. My bad.
He's saving it for his own
Dogecoin.
space journey.
This is
Hit up
Dogecoin, right?
DFE, man.
3 private citizens are paying $55 million each for a trip to the International Space Station.
Wow. Private citizens. I feel like that should be a different class.
Yeah, I feel like they should get their own space station. They're you can't just let the normies hang out with the scientists. It doesn't work like that.
Wasn't there a science fiction movie with Matt Damon about that, where the rich people had their own space station? What was that movie?
no. Was it?
There was.
Is that?
So you
I
don't
did-
watch normal films. You just watch off-brand, like, weird stuff.
This was a
As long as Matt
Hollywood.
Damon, as long as Matt Damon's in it.
It was Matt Damon.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, I feel like that's a perfect place to just shut it down.
All right.
If Matt Damon's in it, we're watching it. There you have it. Full stop. The end of the show. And that brings another Tech Breakfast podcast to a close. Jay, Jessica, John, thank you so much for joining us. The Austin Forum sounds awesome, and I am definitely going to be picking up the podcast on the AI in particular and some of the other topics you guys are getting into. Thanks for joining us. Jay, pleasure having you back on the show. Covered a lot of fun topics today. To our listeners, thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. I hope you go out, see what these guys have going on, and come back for more. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Cheers.